It's the appointed time. We have a quorum. This is the 7th day of the Chinese New Year. I'd like to wish you all a great year of the horse and good health. Let's get started. Item 1 on the agenda, information papers issued since the last meeting. The Secretariat issued 2 sets of paper after the last meeting. Details have been set out on the agenda. Item 2, items for discussion at the next meeting. I'd like to take this opportunity to invite the government officials to come in. Items for discussion at the next meeting. The regular meeting of this panel, the next one will be held at 2:30 p.m. on the 23rd of March 2026, Monday. The administration proposes to discuss the following 2 items, namely Hong Kong Biodiversity Strategy and Action Plan 2035 and reconstruction and upgrading of Sha Tin's transfer station. Do members agree to the arrangement? Any comments? All agreed? Ms. Elizabeth Quat, Deputy Chair, and I met with the Secretary for Environment and Ecology, and we discussed the work plan of this panel for the upcoming year, and I've reflected the members' views in that meeting, which has been set out in the list of outstanding items for discussion. The proposed discussion time of certain items may change. Please note that. Let's move on to the agenda proper. Item 3, report on the development of beautiful bays. There are 2 sets of paper which have been uploaded. Welcome, Secretary. Happy New Year. Happy birthday. Welcome, Secretary and the government officials for attending this meeting. Secretary, please walk us through the paper. After that, we're going to listen to a PowerPoint presentation. Secretary, thank you. If I may wish you all a great year of the horse and every success. This is the first year of the 15th five-year plan of our country. It is said that we are going to build a beautiful China. We are to focus on the continuous improvement of ecological, environmental quality, and optimize the ecosystems. The development of beautiful bays is an important practical means and priority task for building a beautiful China in the marine ecological environment. We're going to report to members the progress of adopting technology. To align with the national plan and realize the goal of jointly developing the Greater Bay Area into an international first-class beautiful Bay Area set out in the 2025 policy address, we are actively taking forward the Beautiful Bays initiative. We are managing the nearshore pollution, coordinating ecosystem protection, and shoreline remediation. In December last year, our country announced that the Myriad Bay was selected as the first batch of National Outstanding Example of Beautiful Bays. This is the first time when we receive such commendation, reflecting our efforts in marine ecological environment protection. It is a significant milestone in the joint development of the Greater Bay Area into international first-class beautiful Bay Area. And because of the improvement, the 15th National Games and the Victoria Harbour Race were held successfully. The water quality met the standards. There were over 3,500 participants of the Cross Harbour Race, which has reflected the efforts of the government. We are stepping up our efforts in bay management and water quality control. Together with the coastal cities in Myers Bay, we've been working on enhancing the quality of ecosystems and building a beautiful Bay Area. Now I will ask Dr. Choi Director of Environmental Protection, to give you all a PowerPoint presentation. Before the director speaks, if I may remind members, I will only open the floor for questions after the presentation. Thank you. As said by the Secretary, in December last year, we received the Mars Bay was selected as the first batch of National Outstanding Example of Beautiful Bays. The country received 67 applications. Only 12 were selected as an outstanding example. This shows that Mars Bay is an example for the rest of cities in the Chinese mainland. Shenzhen received the same award. That is, they're part of the Mars Bay. We applied for the same award last year. And that's why we have achieved the development goal of beautiful bay across the entire Mars Bay water. Mars Bay is towards the northeast side of Hong Kong. It is very large. There are many beautiful places there. We have the Coastal Park and UNESCO Global Geo Park, Yan Chao Tong and Tung Ping Chao Marine Parks, Double Haven Special Area. We have dedicated much efforts to protect the areas in order to achieve 3 of our goals. We want to achieve pristine waters and beaches, thriving marine life, and harmonious coexistence between humans and sea. We need to achieve all of these goals before we are selected one of the National Outstanding Example of Beautiful Bays. And we also have to showcase our efforts in achieving the 3 goals. We managed our pollution and controlled our waters. In Hong Kong, we have adopted unmanned aircraft to monitor the shoreline and enhance the efficiency of our cleaning. We also have an interdepartmental working group that coordinates responses to marine refuse and environmental incidents at sea. We have also procured specialized marine cleaning vessels. On top of that, we have a comprehensive set of law that monitor the cleanliness of our bays. We have statutory marine parks. We protect very well our coral communities, our mangroves, and we ban trawling and destructive fishing practices. We have deployed many artificial reefs, and we have implemented restocking exercises in Hong Kong waters. We have deployed over 300 artificial reefs in our waters. We have also maintained close collaboration with other regions because Mars Bay spans across Hong Kong and Shenzhen. That's why we have many notification mechanisms to ensure speedy response to any incidents. We also want to foster public participation in building beautiful bays. We have established a Clean Shorelines Liaison Platform. That is a website established by the Environmental Protection Department. Every year, we organize around 800 shoreline cleanup activities. We encourage members of the public and community groups to, at various districts, clean up shorelines. In addition, the Marine Ambassador Scheme has nurtured over 600 volunteers to advocate for marine conservation. We also have adopted many forms of smart technology. We have adopted smart unmanned drones, sonar vessels, radar, we are not just working on Myers Bay, but also Victoria Harbor. We have conducted 6,000 misconnections investigations. We have analyzed the samples we collected. Apart from Victoria Harbor, we are also working on the rivers in Chunwan. In 2022, as mentioned in the policy address, we are going to improve the water quality at Chunwan, Shamshipo, and Kowloon City. And the target set out in the policy address is to reduce the pollution load at those places by about 93% by the end of 2025. We have surpassed the key performance indicators set out. And we see that the concentration of the hydrogen sulfide has lowered significantly by 90%, over 90%, as you can see on the chart. So we've seen results to our efforts. In last year's policy address, it is said that the efforts are to be expanded to cover Central, Tsim Sha Tsui, Hong Ham, and Kwun Tong. And hopefully we can halve the pollution load compared to the level in 2022. As you can see, the water quality in the Victoria Harbor has significantly improved. We have conducted many different rounds of surveys. We see reemergence of corals, and we see also different kinds of water species. As mentioned by the Secretary, the 15th National Games Triathlon event was organized at the Victoria Harbor. The Victoria Harbor water quality met all the parameters. We also organized the cross-harbor race. We interviewed many of the swimmers who participated in the race. They said that the water quality in the Victoria Harbor was very satisfactory, and it was the best throughout the years when the race was organized. We've also developed some new indicators and assessment model. We have adopted this PCII, and we hope to extend this use of phytoplankton community integrity index to more places. This index monitors eutrophication status and the ecological health of waters. Regarding beaches, over the past decades, starting from 2011, the water quality of our beaches meet all the standards, and we also now have a beach water quality forecast system. So members of the public can log on to our website to learn about the water quality of our beaches today so that they can select the beach with the best water quality to swim on any day. As mentioned, we have deployed many unmanned aircraft to monitor the sea water quality. When these aircraft detect any refuse, our government departments will be notified to clean up the refuse. The cleanliness level of our beaches have gone from unsatisfactory or poor to clean or satisfactory in 2025. We are also developing a new generation advanced 3D regional hydrodynamic and water quality model. This model adopts the state-of-the-art flexible mesh technology. The model covers Taiwan to Hainan. This is an extremely accurate way for us to build our model. when incidents happen, say for example, if there's oil spill or if there is large amount of refuse on the waters, we will be notified so that we can clean the waters. Looking forward, we're going to proactively develop and leverage advanced smart technologies to strengthen nearshore pollution prevention and coastal remediation. We will further strengthen interdepartmental collaboration to improve the water quality of Victoria Harbour and its nearshore. We hope to foster a water-friendly culture and create a coastal environment conducive to both living and recreation, enabling more water sports, and to build a first-class beautiful bay area. So much for my presentation. I'd like to take this opportunity to play a 2-minute short video that we sent to our country for the National Outstanding Example of Beautiful Bays list. Thank you. Please take a watch.
印洲塘係俾
Yan Tong is surrounded by many islands. The bay is calm, and you can see stunning scenery over there. In 2023, there's a picture that went viral on the internet. This is Tung Peng Chau, which is the Hong Kong's easternmost point. There are mountains, there are clouds, there is also pristine water. I can simply walk to the beach or the bay to stay close to water. Mears Bay, which is a part of the northern metropolis, it has world-class geological wonders. There is also rich cultural heritage in Lai Chi Wo, Kat O, Ap Chow. There are island hopping tours. You can experience the Hakka heritage in these areas. You can set sail or even paddle in the water over there. There are many country parks and campsites. All these nestle along the shoreline. You can immerse yourself in the rich coastal heritage. You can also enjoy your time over there. Mears Bay of Hong Kong has pristine water. Humans and the sea get along. It is like a pair of spanning wings in the South China Sea. The seas in Hong Kong are clean, clear, are so blue. They are just like a pane of glass. It is important to treasure these seas and bays. A bay to embrace, a beauty to preserve. Thank you. I now open the floor for members to ask questions. Questions and answers included 4 minutes. First member, Mr. Andrew Lam. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. At the end of 2024, China came to the typhoon shelter in Causeway Bay and Victoria Harbour. They visited the typhoon shelter over there. It was a small one. They came to know more about the development of smart technologies. I could see on the monitor fish, crab, as well as shrimps. I also saw very beautiful coral reefs. We were amazed at the high quality of the waters in Hong Kong. The administration's efforts are worth our recognition. Mirs Bay has a lot of good resources. It has a lot of potential for tourism development as well. When there is more cross-boundary tourism, what is our strategy for beautiful bays? How can we cope with tourism activities? Next, when it comes to water quality, especially when it comes to refuse at sea, Deep Bay, Lantau Island, that is to the west of Hong Kong. There's litter floating into Hong Kong. Do we have the same monitoring mechanism to cope with this problem? Can we help prevent the flowing over of refuse so that the rubbish won't be washed ashore? Thank you. Secretary, I will start with the second question. With the Chinese mainland, we have a working group. We monitor the issue of refuse or litter flowing in the sea. We try to tackle the problem at source. We intercept the litter at source. But of course, there is litter floating in Hong Kong, but it doesn't necessarily come from the Chinese mainland. As I mentioned, we have unmanned aircraft systems to monitor the situation at sea. We also monitor the situation on beaches. We will ask the Marine Department to clear litter when we identify such on beaches. We will also inform the relevant departments. That's why in recent years we have seen significant improvements in this matter, and I believe with technological advancements this problem will be solved and the situation will improve. On the long-term management of the beaches, this will be easier in the future. We can manage vessels. Some sites are geoparks, some are marine parks. The AFCD conducts patrol in these areas. So at the present stage, in our view, there is huge potential for ecotourism. We want to attract tourists to go to these areas. And at the same time, we can keep the beaches clean. We can also ensure the ecological health of these areas. We work with the CSTB. We work together to map out the future development direction. Thank you. Next, Professor Lau Chi-Pang. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to follow up on Mr. Lam's point. Of course, the bay we see is very beautiful indeed. I understand the administration has done a lot of things to improve the area. However, not many members of the public appreciate the beauty of the Mirs Bay. It's quite time-consuming and inconvenient to go to Mirs Bay, whether you take a boat ride or whether you walk to that area. Indeed, it is a scenery in Hong Kong, and it has received recognition, but not many members of the public get to appreciate its beauty. It's a great shame, in fact. I'd like to ask the administration, do you have a holistic and comprehensive plan? We have some members who are interested in tourism. With the opening up of Chongyang Street, there are arrangements of group in and group out. What about beautiful bays? We need to keep our bays beautiful. What arrangements do we need to put in place in order to let members of the public appreciate the beauty of Mears Bay? That is because if no one gets to appreciate the beauty of Mears Bay, then it isn't really beautiful. Secretary, thank you. Well, we are responsible for protecting this place. We are more than happy to work with the relevant departments when it comes to opening this area. As you mentioned, some places are only accessible by boats. Well, regarding how we can open the area and draw more visitors, we will have to work with the relevant departments, and we will also strengthen conservation. But regarding the overall plan, this will require interdepartmental efforts. We are willing to work with the other bureaus and departments. Professor Lau, well, that is not really my question. Of course, I know that you will work with other departments. But I'd like to know how many visitors can Mears Bay receive? What is the capacity of tourists? What is the recommended method to visit Mears Bay? Beautiful bays are very important natural resources on the EEB. It should be the case that other departments work with you, not you work with other departments. Regarding environmental capacity, that is, whether it can receive 500 or even 1,000 people. However, this figure isn't an absolute figure. It is all down to our management of the area. When visitors come to this area, how are they going to visit the area? As for people going for camping, sometimes people think that this would lead to serious problems when there are a lot of campers. During the Lunar Chinese New Year, of course, there are many campers in that area, but in fact, with our management plan in place, there isn't any issue. There are no problems at all. That's why it's all down to the management of a place. It's not whether we will set any absolute figure. So I think a more preferable approach is to see what people are interested in, and then we implement a management plan. There are different levels of the management plan. Say cleanup, or any limitation of access, ticketing. There are different levels, but we first of all need to understand what people are interested in. That is exactly how we can implement a management plan. There is no any magic figure, say 500 or 1,000. Next, Ms. Elizabeth Cott.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to congratulate the Bureau for the fact that the Mears Bay was being selected as one of the national outstanding examples of beautiful bays. Apart from Mears Bay, I see that the water quality of our Victoria Harbour and many rivers in Hong Kong have been improving. So I'd like to give credit to the efforts of the Environmental Protection Department. I greatly appreciate the adoption of technology by the EPD. They are willing to try new things out. Previously, we had to detect sewers misconnection by lifting all the manhole covers. Now we can use radar to detect misconnections, and we also have a team of robots, unmanned aircrafts. I think that the EPD is a pioneer in technological adoption. I hope that they can keep up the efforts. I know that the department is looking into adopting unmanned aircraft to detect marine refuse so that they can clean them up early. I think that's a great thing. Another member talked about how we can allow a greater appreciation for Myers Bays or other water bodies. I think our waters and bays are the most beautiful from the aerial perspective. So I hope that we can have more island hopping tours. We are just testing out low altitude tourism. I know that many enterprises want to participate in island hopping and offer low altitude tourism. However, it's very difficult for them to identify any drone pads for takeoffs and landing. And well, charging is not the major issues because the drones can fly somewhere else to be charged. I hope that the secretary can identify one or two of your colleagues so that our enterprises can reach out to them to identify a drone pads or helipads for these drones to take off and land. Can the Bureau take a step further in identifying these vertiports for our enterprises? Secretary, thank you for your great suggestions. We fully support the development of the low-altitude tourism. Please just let us know what requirements you have so that we can identify suitable vertiports for the trade. We fully support the trial, and if the trial is successful, we may extend the development of low-altitude tourism. I hope that the secretary will give us a contact point after the meeting. Thank you, definitely. Mr. Aaron Bach. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to give credits to the Bureau for their years-long efforts in improving the Victoria Harbour, in creating this beautiful Myers Bay, which has been selected as one of the national outstanding example of beautiful bays. Their efforts have been recognized. However, our bays are not just about New Territories East or Victoria Harbour. We also have Pak Nai, Lau Fau Shan in the western part of the New Territories. The water bodies there are beautiful. They have great sceneries. However, the water quality there is much worse than that in the New Territories East. As you can, well, as you said in the paper, you identified 25 sewer misconnection in Yuen Long. I think that's the tip of the iceberg because I ride my bike there all the time. Campton River, Sampo River. The odor was horrible. We often see migrate birds passing through Maipo, and I saw black-faced spoon birds finding foods at the very dirty channels. I hope that within 5 to 10 years, we can improve the water quality in the water bodies of the New Territories West, and hopefully we can lower the pollution load of those water bodies by 90%. In other words, we should intercept these sewage coming out from the farmlands, the pig farms. Although I know that there is regulation currently, there is still sewage coming out from these pig farms and practices. We may not be able to become an example of beautiful bays in 10 years' time, but I hope that we see improvements in the water bodies of the New Territories East. Well, we do have a goal of having Deep Bay being listed as one of the outstanding example of beautiful bays. I will ask the director to supplement. Thank you. As mentioned by the secretary, at the Shenzhen side of the Deep Bay, we are working with them. Regarding the water quality of the bay, is quite good. We meet all of the indicators except one. And that indicator could not be met because of the nutrition particles at the outfall of the river. And as the concentration of this kind of particle is too high, that's why the waters there cannot meet the Class 1 standard of our country. So it's difficult for us to meet all the standards or the indicators of beautiful bays. Otherwise, well, if not for this indicator, the Shenzhen side of the Deep Bay would have already been listed as one of the examples of beautiful bays. That's why I said that we are using PCII If we look at just that indicator, then we cannot really tell if the water is good or not. Well, the Environmental Protection Department, based on the data in the past 30 years, have seen great improvement in the water quality of Deep Bay, and it's reached Class 1 or Class 2 standard for a country, if not for the inorganic nitrogen. The reason why the river water quality the upstream part is poorer is because there is pollution. You mentioned Yunlong was starting from last year. We already started working on it, and we are identifying the source of pollution. And now we're working on a large-scale construction, that is the dry weather interceptor. I'm confident that we can lower the pollution load by 90% after installing the dry weather flow interceptors in 4 to 5 years, if not 3 to 4 years. We have reduced pollution load by 90% in many other places. So we are confident that we will be able to achieve the same in Yunlong. Please be brief, Director. You asked about Camtin. We will also work on it, but we have to take it step by step. Thank you. Next, Mr. Stephen Ho. Thank you, Madam Chair. I thank the SAR government for their efforts. On the sewage problems, the SAR government has been working on relocating the pig farms and sewer misconnection. The government has improved the laws and strengthened the penalty. Our marine ordinances are rather outdated, so it's difficult for us to develop marine tourism very efficiently. Another member talked about how Hong would drive over tourism at some places. Many experienced mariners are retiring, and we don't have enough new blood joining the trade. When vessels drive by too fast, that will affect the fish rafts operating at sea. I hope that the government will promote marine culture before opening up our waters for tourism. I think that we have to centralize the management. Take Ocean Park as an example, or Marine Park as an example. Not all kinds of vessels can enter. And I think that we should just progressively open up some of our waters, zones, and to limit the types of vessels that can enter the zone. We also have to strengthen regulations. I also like to talk about marine refuse. I think the government has been lacking in terms of AI and digitalization. The government is tight in their budget. Perhaps that's why they are adopting the lowest bidder win approach even in the adoption of AI. I hope that the government will raise the marks for tenderers who can use less manpower for the use of AI. Thank you. I will ask the director to answer my question. Thank you. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank the member for his support. You talked about marine refuse. We're working on the entire territory, and we already are deploying drones to detect water or marine refuse. We have adopted AI. Regarding a question on tenders, we will talk to the Marine Department to see what we can do to lower the price while enhancing our processing efficiency and capability of marine refuse. Thank you. Only one of the questions has been answered. One of the 4 questions. You talked about progressive opening of water bodies and changing marine culture. Well, there is much disputes on the waters. I don't want to see it happen again. We will go back and talk to the Marine Department to see what they can about how they can help. Please give me a written reply. Thank you. Next, Ms. Vivian Kong. Thank you, Madam Chair. The administration said that they are going to create a shorelines that is livable and that is good for recreation. As someone representing the tourism sector, I look forward to the planning of a comprehensive set of policy for ecotourism, and I'd like to ask about infrastructures for the tourism. The administration said that by the end of 2027, they are going to lower the pollution load by 50% compared to 2022. Regarding Central and Chim Sa Choi, what indicators are you going to adopt and what remedial measures you are going to deploy? Thank you.
Hey.
Secretary, thank you. Regarding improving water quality in Central and Chimsha-cho, I'd like to ask the Director to reply in a moment. Regarding the promotion of ecotourism, as we mentioned, we will try our best to protect our ecological environment so that we will live up to the recognition of an outstanding example of beautiful bays. We will also work with the CSTB. From the perspective of management, we will see how we can protect our ecology and at the same time boost tourism in Hong Kong. We will see how we can work together. And I will ask the Director to give you more information. Thank you. Central and in other places as well. At rainwater drains, we measure the amount of E. coli. Usually, we collect samples from the rainwater drains and we test for the amount of E. coli. When we identify pollution, we will track the water flow along the rainwater drains. We will also lift the covers of manholes so that we can identify any pollution sources. Afterwards, we will check every single manhole. When appropriate, we will send an unmanned vessel or unmanned boat to conduct further tests. Unmanned vehicles will also be deployed in order to identify the pollution sources. At the upstream, we will conduct further tests to further confirm the source of pollution. We conduct these tests repeatedly. That is because when there are more pollution sources, we need to conduct different checks. That's why we often say that we need at least 3 to 4 years before we can clear up all the pollution sources. That's pretty much the situation. In the past few years, we need some time to improve the quality of the water in Victoria Harbour. As for Central, as well as other places, we will do exactly the same. Thank you. Mr. Horden Chow. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm glad to see the administration's efforts on beautiful bays. Water quality has everything to do with river. In paragraph 16 of the information papers, there are misconnections of sewers in Yuen Long. A total of 13 cases had already been rectified, as reported in the information paper. So I'd like to follow up on the quality of water in Yuen Long. For Kam Tin River, Sapat Hung, Nolas, there are vegetated and overgrown areas along the two sides of the river. The vegetation grows very tall, and it is easy for litter or pollutants to be accumulated in that areas. When you don't trim the grass, and in the event of storms, it is difficult for us to prevent flooding in that area. I know the EPD has been working on this, but probably you will have to work with the DSD. The DSD needs to provide assistance, so I'd like to express my concerns. I'm happy to see the misconnections of sewers being rectified, but I'd like to share my observation with you. In a lot of places in Yuen Long, the NOLAs have been rectified. However, when it comes to further connections to rural areas from the NOLAs, these parts have not been coped with. We need public funds to solve these problems as well. People in the rural areas told us that that area would actually become a septic tank, and that affects the hygiene in that area. So when we have solved the problems in NOLAs, what about the connections? Can we solve the problems concerning connections as well? I believe this has a lot to do with the quality of water in the river. Thank you. Secretary, thank you. I'd like to see if the director has anything to add. Well, just now you talked about rainwater drains and systems. We need collaborative efforts with other departments. The EPD will talk to the DSD as well as the CEDD. We hope to make constant enhancements. As for the problems stemming from pig farms, we'll try to replace the existing pig farms with multi-story pig farms. We hope to see improvements in the situation. I'd like to see if the director has anything to add. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. We are aware of the problem in Yunlong. We often work with the DSD. They have done a lot of work. On the 26th day of the last month of the previous year, we went to the NOLA in Yunlong. We managed to clear a lot of grass in that area, and that area has become much cleaner. After we have reduced half of the pollution sources, we have identified or we have seen improved water quality. The amount of E. coli has already dropped by half, but we won't be content with the current progress. We'll continue to make enhancements. We'll continue to conduct studies. At the time of development in the North Metropolis, we want to work on different fronts. Mr. Chan Pok Chi, thank you. Mayor's Bay is one of the recognition we have achieved. That is the outstanding example of beautiful bays. I'd like to know what concrete plans Hong Kong has. Apart from the reporting mechanism and the task group, how are we working with the Shenzhen side to protect Mears Bay together? Thank you. Secretary, thank you. We have an interdepartmental working group on marine environmental management, as well as the Hong Kong-Guangdong Marine Environmental Management Special Panel. Not just Mears Bay, but for Shenzhen Bay, and as we call it, Deep Bay, we have done a lot of work. We do our best to protect dolphins, or Chinese white dolphins, and I'd like to invite the director to give you more information. Thank you. Yes, we oftentimes work with the Shenzhen side. When it comes to technologies, we have been improving the situation. We have constant communication. We have drawn reference from the pollution control, waste disposal mechanism. We learn from each other. At the same time, we introduce our high-quality monitoring mechanisms such as PCII, as well as the water quality model. We share with the Shenzhen side our model. We also share with us our management practice. This is exactly how we can enhance speed, efficiency, and effect. This is how we can make sure we are making the most of the money. When it comes to the water quality model, torrential rain will cause marine litter to float in the sea. When there are accidents at sea, the water quality model can take into account wind direction and project the drifting direction of marine litter. Then we may be able to intercept the goods containers that are floating in the sea. We will inform the Shenzhen side immediately. We also send vessels to help. We have joint prevention and control mechanism. We're doing this with the Shenzhen side. We also conduct drills. Together with the Shenzhen side, we conduct drills. Say for oil leakage incident, where should we intercept the oil? All these drills are very important. When we make application for Mirs Bay to be selected as an outstanding example of beautiful bays, we need to do all these in order to successfully receive the recognition of an outstanding example of beautiful bays. Mr. Perry Yu. Well, I have lost my voice today, but I will try my best. I'm glad to see the achievement of Mirs Bay. Well, I'd like to talk about red tide, and there are also seagulls. Oftentimes we see our sea bringing together seagulls. During the epidemic, I took part in cross-harbor race, and I felt the improved quality of water in Hong Kong. I have been promoting the quality of water to tourists and members of the public. They indeed should take part in water sports in Hong Kong, and there is always room for improvement. And I hope that the government, including the EPD, will continue to work hard. For promenades affected by odor, such as Kowloon West and Kwun Tong, the situation has improved significantly, but I hope that the government will continue to enhance its efforts. Regarding the future development of outstanding example of beautiful bays of Mirs Bay, I have written a letter to the administration. I'd like to explore the development of the local ecological environment as well as ecotourism. I'm not sure what the subcommittee can do, but we can discuss it at this meeting. Members have a lot of ideas and views to express. They have good proposals. I'm concerned about the issue of marine litter. For litter floating in the sea, they might be easier to be handled. However, some litter or rubbish have been washed up ashore. That is due to people having picnic. How often do you carry out an inspection? How often do you have cleanups? Some places lack landing facilities, but it doesn't look good for beaches with litter. As for Po Pin Chow, some litter might be washed up shore to stones on beaches, so I'd like to know how often you carry out inspections and cleanups. Thank you.
Secretary, thank you for your question. You asked about the Victoria Harbour, new territories. We will continue our work on them. As you heard from our presentation, we have achieved some success, but we will continue to work on the black spots in the Victoria Harbour. Although we have reduced the pollution load by 90%, there's still room for improvement. As mentioned, we will continue to work on areas such as Yunlong, as mentioned. Regarding marine refuse, well, from the macro perspective, we do have an interdepartmental working group with the Shenzhen side so that we can identify sources of pollution and intercept refuse at the outfall of the Pearl River. As for how often we clean up refuse, well, we don't have a regular schedule. As mentioned, we adopt manned aircraft to detect refuse on waters, and if we detect any rubbish, we will clean them up. We also have a Clean the Beach campaign. Many volunteer groups in Hong Kong organize beach cleanup events regularly. When we identify beaches with a large amount of refuse, we notify these groups so that they can organize cleanup activities. With technological advancement, I believe that we will have a better grasp of the refuse situation at various beaches, and we will be able to clean them up more speedily. Next, Ms. Nixie Lam. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to ask about Tsuen Wan. I used to be a Tsuen Wan district councillor, and I had been following up on pollution and misconnection. In the paper, it is said that the overall pollution load at Tsuen Wan, Sham Shui Po, and Kowloon City has been reduced by 93%, and a total of 13 cases have been rectified, resulting in a reduction of 50% of the pollution load. But there are 9 areas in Tsuen Wan, and we have a serious misconnection problem, especially for sewers under the old and dilapidated buildings. I'd like to ask if the administration can give us some figures on the sewers misconnection issue. I'd like to see more transparency. How many stormwater pipes been heavily polluted? Have they been rectified? If not, when will you do it? Will the administration announce the locations of the polluted sewers or stormwater drains? Because we can only schedule rectifying works if we know about the situations. I hope that you can give me some figures so that we can follow up on the remediation works. As mentioned, Tsuen Wan is an old district, and the plans of underground pipelines and drains may not be good enough. And if you identify any misconnection, will you update your plans? If you identify any discrepancy between the actual locations of the drains and the plans, will you update it? Some workers may just connect the damaged sewers randomly, and have you identified any such issues? We see malpractices of factories and workshops on the mountains, resulting in pollution to drains. Do you conduct patrols to factories? All right, data on misconnection of sewers. Thank you. Tsuen Wan is one of the key districts where we will concentrate our efforts on. As mentioned on the PowerPoint slide, The pollution load there has been reduced by 93% by the end of 2025. The concentration of the hydrogen sulfide has also been lowered by more than 90%. So we've seen results with our efforts. You asked about numbers. I will ask if the director has any to supply. Director, please. Any information? I'm looking up the figures. In Chunwan, there are 3 major sewers. They are drainage pipes. That we see drainage issues with all of the pipes. So over the past 3 years, we have looked into them. I don't have a breakdown among Chunwan, Shamshui-Po, and Kowloon City, but the 3 districts altogether, well, we have rectified over 200 sewers misconnection. We have worked on Chunwan already. Before the new year, in Chunwan, we have organized an activity together with the district council there. Many district councillors recognized the fact that the Chunwan odor problem has been resolved. We didn't smell any malodor there on that day. We have only reduced the pollution load by 93%, not 100% yet. We will work on the 2 to 3 misconnections we identified in the coming year. There are some misconnections in private properties. When we identify them, we will notify the buildings, well, the RHSD, the Architectural Services Department. Sorry, my mistake, the Buildings Department. The Buildings Department will issue an order to the private property so that they will have to rectify the misconnection. As of right now, we don't have to reach out to each and every building for rectification because the efforts have already been completed. We will trace the pollution from drainage all the way to the source to see if there is any misconnection, and if there is, the efforts is done. I know that Ms. Lam wants to ask a follow-up question, but we have already overrun. I will give you 1 minute. I have a few questions. You said that 93% is a figure of 3 districts combined. I'd like to ask about the percentage for Chunwan alone. I was asking how many districts have not seen rectification. You said not 7%, so what does it mean? For private properties, things can be complicated. I've been following up on this issue since 2012, but the problem remains unresolved. Ms. Lam just wants concrete figures. Here is my suggestion. Perhaps you supply Ms. Lam with the figures after the meeting. Can they just give me a simple answer first? Director. In Chunwan, according to the information at hand, we have completed 95% of rectification works. I cannot give you the actual figures because I don't have it here. I can supply you with the figures after the meeting. Thank you. That concludes this item. The next one is an updated version of the Hong Kong roadmap on popularization of electric vehicles. May I ask the government officials to come in? Would the administration give us a presentation? After their presentation, I will open the floor for questions from members. Have you all pressed the button already? After the PowerPoint presentation, I will open the system up for you to press your button. The government officials are already here. Would the secretary please give us a presentation, and then we can move on to the PowerPoint slides. Thank you. In 2021, the government formulated the first Hong Kong roadmap on popularization of electric vehicles, setting the targets of seizing new registration of fuel-propelled private cars and with view to achieving zero vehicular emissions before 2050. The government has introduced many new measures. That's why we're updating the roadmap. The number of EPCs have increased fourfold to 140,000. 7 out of 10 newly registered EPC private cars are EPCs. Regarding charging networks, we have 130,000 parking lots, car parking space with chargers. The existing facilities can support 230,000 EVs. The technology of EPCs have matured. We have many different models for consumers to choose from. The prices have lowered. On the market, we see competitive EPC. As a result, we think that the development of EPC will be driven by the market. The government will work on improving the public charging networks and battery recycling. We will cease the registration of fuel-propelled PC by 2035. However, for ECVs, electric commercial vehicles, is still at a starting phase. That's why we will establish a working group to address all the pain points and introduce more models of ECVs to create conditions for wider adoption of ECVs. We will establish a charging networks with fast chargers at backbones. Hopefully, we can have 10,000 chargers supporting 500,000 commercial vehicles. Along with other charging facilities, hopefully we can support 800,000 ECVs soon. Our country is the leading force in the popularization of EVs. That's why the government will work with the country to bring in the technology and promote the same elsewhere. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary. We have already briefed members on the updates of the roadmap, and I'd like to highlight some important points. Regarding the vision of the policy, by 2050, we want to achieve zero vehicular emissions in order to promote green transportation. The popularization of EVs is the most important. In 2021, as the Secretary just now mentioned, we published the first Hong Kong roadmap on popularization of EVs. By 2035, we target to seize the new registration of fuel-propelled private cars, including hybrid vehicles. In 2024, we published the Green Transformation Roadmap of public buses and taxis. Last year, we started to review the Hong Kong roadmap on popularization of EVs. We have taken into account the local development as well as overseas development. We have updated the Hong Kong roadmap on popularization of EVs. I'd like to talk about the number of EVs in Hong Kong. In the past few years, In 2025, well, we have seen an increase in the number of EVs, and the number of EVs in Hong Kong was about 150,000 in 2025, and the ratio of EVs is very high, and we are second to Norway. EVs make up 70% of new private car registrations in Hong Kong. We have the EV charging at home subsidy scheme. There are a total of 130,000 parking spaces equipped with charging. When it comes to public chargers, the figure stands at about 16,500. This is enough to support around 100,000 EVs. And this is enough for us to support a total of 230,000 EVs in Hong Kong. As I mentioned, we have drawn reference from overseas experience. We have also taken into account technological advancements. That's how we updated the Hong Kong roadmap on popularization of EVs. We have a total of 5 important areas of work covering 28 measures. First, policy promotion. The construction of chargers involves a lot of different policy bureaus. That's why we have already set up a high-level working group to steer the development of chargers as well as EVs. At the same time, we will also use the Green Tech Fund and the New Energy Transport Fund to support the research and development of EVs. The NET Fund has already subsidized the trials of new energy vehicles, having approved about 174 million in funding for about 220 EV trials. The Green Tech Fund has also allocated around $18 million to fund 5 R&D projects related to EV battery recycling and charging network development. In 2025, all senior officials in the government need to use EVs. Every year, we work with the Government Logistics Department and the Transport Department to identify EVs for use by the administration. And depending on the situation, we make it a mandatory requirement. We work with the Ministry of Energy of our country. We have entered into an agreement with the technology of Chaoji. We have managed to solve the problem of incompatibility of charging standards, and this will help us to promote national charging technology so that we can bring in and help these technologies to go global. There could be a difference of 90% between EVs and traditional vehicles. The government will continue to improve technologies and network in order to support the transition to EVs. And by 2035, we will cease new registration of fuel-propelled PCs, including hybrid vehicles. We aim to do so in 2035. In 2030, the number of EVs in Hong Kong is projected to surpass 300,000, and in 2035, this figure may even increase to 500,000. We have drawn reference from overseas experience. To put it simply, the progress is still slow, especially for heavy-duty ECVs. There are different bottlenecks, such as significantly higher purchase costs, limited driving range, lower load capacity, and longer charging time. Only certain vehicle types, including franchise buses, taxis, and van-type LGVs, have achieved a relatively mature stage of large-scale application compared with other CV vehicle types. At present, we consider it prudent to adopt a pragmatic approach. As for other ECVs which haven't yet reached the stage of large-scale application, such as heavy-duty ECVs, we hope to introduce suitable vehicle types. We will set up a working group to facilitate the introduction of more competitively priced EV models. We will also relax the gross vehicle weight restrictions. We aim to make it more convenient for ECVs to charge. In fast charging stations, we will provide fast charging bays suitable for large ECVs. And we will also support franchise bus operators in opening up their depot charging facilities for public use. We plan to launch a new $20 million initiative this year to encourage the industry to install fast chargers of at least 240 kilowatts for ECVs. At the same time, we will explore with power companies on improvements to the charging network and charging incentive schemes. Overall, we want to create conditions for ECVs to get charged more easily. We want to attract the owners of CVs to switch to electric vehicles. Regarding the charging network, our goal is in the middle of 2027, the number of public and private parking spaces will be increased to around 200,000. And we will also develop a public charging network with fast chargers as the backbone. We target to provide 4,000 fast chargers by 2030, and we expect to increase this to around 10,000 by 2035. This will be sufficient for us to support a total of 200,000 EVs. So how can we do so? There are three main directions. First of all, we'll continue to implement and consider timely refinements of existing schemes, including the $300 million fast charger incentive scheme, which was implemented in July 2025. And we also facilitate the conversion of petrol filling stations into fast charging stations, alongside retrofitting of chargers at existing petrol filling stations. We want to promote the development of the private market. That's why we will remove barriers and restrictions. As I mentioned just now, we will encourage franchise bus operators to open up charging facilities at bus depots. In addition, in our discussion with the industry, we have found that they aren't very familiar with the procedures when they need to make an application with the administration. That's why we will expedite their participation by providing policy support. We will also explore the utilization of existing facilities and identifying additional suitable sites for installing fast chargers. As I mentioned, we will explore the use of CHAoJi technology with the National Energy Administration. At present, we have a total of 70 Guobao standard chargers, and they can support a total of 1,400 GB standard EVs. Last of all, I'd like to talk about other supporting measures. First of all, on the recycling of EV batteries, we already forecast in our first Hong Kong roadmap on popularization of EVs the need to recycle such EV batteries. That's why the relevant facilities are being constructed in Eco Park. We hope to strengthen our role in the regional green industry chain. We also want to serve as a good model for mutually beneficial cooperation in the environmental industry of the GBA. And we will consult members on the producer responsibility scheme. At the same time, we want to finish our work on guidelines. At the same time, We have been working with tertiary institutions to promote further training for EV technology and maintenance personnel. At the end of last year, about 1,100 technicians have already completed these training courses. Thank you. I now open the floor for members to ask questions. Members, please be succinct. Questions and answers included probably only 3 minutes for each member. First member, Captain Lam. Thank you, Madam Chair. Hong Kong has been promoting EV popularization. Now, over 7 out of 10 vehicles applying for registration are EVs. I'm glad to see the updated Hong Kong roadmap on popularization of EVs. Different vehicle types will be introduced. I'd like to know whether the administration has any timeline. When will you be able to do so? Will you draw reference from the practice of e-taxis to provide concessions to the public light buses? How are you going to ease their financial pressure so that they will switch to using EVs? Next, on the distribution of fast chargers, the administration will continue to provide fast chargers for EVs. In Hong Kong, there were a total of 72 public fast chargers. In the new territories, there were 50, and in the Kowloon district, there were only 8. What plans does the administration have to provide more charging facilities so that we can meet the demand of areas with higher demand? Next, when it comes to technicians, the government projects that there will be a total of 500,000 EVs in 2035. That's why the demand for technicians will only increase. Has the administration conducted any assessments? How many technicians will we need in 2035? How can we better plan training? The repair and maintenance of EVs involves a lot of electrical and mechanical knowledge. Will the government consider changing the system from a voluntary one to a mandatory one? I understand that this will involve the work of the EMSD. I hope the EEB will work with the EMSD to make it happen. Thank you, Secretary. We'll definitely discuss it with the relevant departments. I'd like to give the floor to Deputy Secretary to give you more information. Thank you. Thank you, Captain Lam, for your question. I will answer in brief. When it comes to promotion in the public light bus sector, we have been in liaison with the sector. There is a great price difference between the vehicles and EVs. That's why last year we already worked on preparing for this. In the Chinese mainland, we look for reputable vehicle manufacturers. We want them to provide vehicles in large quantities for Hong Kong. This is how we can narrow the price gap. We have been meeting stakeholders and representatives of the industry. We hope to set up the task group as soon as possible so that in the first half of this year, we can directly liaise with the minibus sector. Then we will be in a better position to know what exactly they want to introduce. Regarding the distribution of chargers, in July last year, we launched the 300 million fast charger incentive scheme. The distribution is quite even. We have seen applications from 18 districts in Hong Kong. From the data last year, if we continue to promote this scheme, the distribution of the 18 districts will be even. In some districts, the number is on the higher side, and we will work with the operators to see whether they are interested in providing more chargers. When it comes to repair and maintenance, there are a total of 7,000 technicians in Hong Kong. 1,100 of them have already completed the relevant training courses. We are more than willing to see more technicians completing these training courses, thereby providing better services for the industry. We keep our mind open. Thank you.
兩個問題。
Mr. Aaron Bok, thank you. 2 questions. First, on electric commercial vehicles, ECVs. It is said that only 7% that are light goods vehicles are electric, and for medium goods vehicles, only 3%. The figures is rather low. I believe that it will take a long time for commercial vehicles to go electric. The Secretary is faced with a dilemma. Whether we are going to use hydrogen or electricity. Green hydrogen is still rather expensive. That's the problem. I understand that in mainland they are going to fastly adopt hydrogen. And it is said that they can solidify the hydrogen and deliver it to Hong Kong. In other words, hydrogen can be transported and its price will definitely be lowered in the future. If we are only encouraging the EVs to go electric in 5 to 10 years' time, the market may have already changed. My second question on the retired batteries. I see many abandoned fuel-propelled vehicles in the new territories, resulting in environmental pollution. If we don't have a producer's responsibility scheme for EVs or a tracking system mandating the vehicle owners to cancel the registration with the Transport Department, then we will see many abandoned EVs in new territories in the future. How are we going to deal with the problem? Secretary. Well, regarding batteries, we are now developing a producer's responsibility scheme that covers batteries. For EVs, we will consult the Legislative Council within this year. Madam Chair, I'm not asking about money or asking the vehicle owners to pay. They have to return the batteries. Well, by producer's responsibility scheme, we are holding the owner of the battery accountable so that no one will abandon the battery on the streets. With the scheme, the problem you raised could be resolved. You also asked about the future of electric vehicles and hydrogen vehicles. Different people have different views on this. Hydrogen may not be the definite trend for the future. As solid batteries is becoming more mature, the mainstream views is that electric vehicles will be the mainstream kind of vehicles, and for hydrogen vehicles, they will be for dedicated kind of use only. Overall speaking, the technology for ECVs is not mature enough, as we all know. That's why we cannot promote ECVs like what we do with EPCs. Due to various reasons, the load capacity, the driving range of ECVs is not as good as EPCs. That's why the working group will identify vehicle models that suit Hong Kong so that we can promote it further. Mr. Hui Simon Lee. Thank you, Madam Chair. We see a significant growth in electric vehicles. I recognize the efforts of the government. They've spent much money to support this development. We need a significant number of chargers to support the development of EVs. we need chargers in also private or public residential developments. My team and I have been following up on the installation of chargers at various residential developments that have obtained subsidy under the EV charging at home subsidy scheme. After obtaining subsidy from the government, some residential estates ask the owners to fork out the rest of the outstanding sum for the installation of chargers. The amount borne by owners is more or less the same if the estate have obtained subsidy from the government or not. So what does it imply? Does it mean that the suppliers raise the price of their service deliberately in their tender documents? If this happens, then the subsidy scheme may not be benefiting the regular members of the public, but service suppliers. I think that the government has to look into this issue, and we have to prevent potential corruption or big rigging problem so that the EV charging at home subsidy scheme actually benefit the members of the public so that they can enjoy a discounted installation of chargers. Secretary, I will ask Mr. Leung to answer the question. Thank you. Regarding the EV charging at home subsidy scheme, the residential estates will have to conduct an open tender exercise. We do have procedures for them to follow. So the tender exercise has to be fair and open. If they come across any problems, they can reach out to us and we can offer appropriate support. If the member come across any specific cases of potential big rigging, please refer them to us. Thank you. Next, Mr. Kenneth Lau. Thank you, Madam Chair. The government published the updated version of the roadmap recently. I do agree that we have to further popularize EV to achieve the carbon neutrality goal before 2050. Many people are concerned about the lack of chargers, especially vehicle owners and professional drivers. When they drive, they are afraid of running out of batteries, just like us with our phones. We have 16,500 public chargers supporting about 100,000 EVs. However, in Tumun, there are only 340 chargers, Taipo 334 chargers. The number is significantly lower than other districts. I'd like to ask the Secretary why the number of public chargers are so low in these two districts. Is it because of the electricity connection problem? Will you install more chargers at these two places to make sure that the distribution of chargers are even across all territories, all districts in Hong Kong? Thank you. Secretary, thank you, Mr. Lau, for the question. Public chargers are mostly medium chargers. They are mostly installed at parking lots. That's why the chargers mostly in there. That's why the number of chargers are not even across all districts in Hong Kong. As the PS said, we want to build a charging network with the fast chargers at backbone. In the first quarter this year, we are going to roll out a 300 million fast charger incentive scheme. Applicants can identify places without chargers to install them. That's why it will be a market-driven approach. And as a result, we will see a more evenly distributed chargers in our territory. I'd like to raise and observations that I have. The distribution of fuel, petrol filling station is also uneven. Some districts have just a few of them. Some have 20 petrol filling stations. So the locations of the chargers should meet the demand of the drivers. Ms. KWOK Fu-yung. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to ask about the charging network. The government said that by 2027, they target to increase the number of public and private chargers to about 200,000. I'd like to ask about the distribution of chargers in the Southwest New Territories. The growth of EVs is fast there, but we don't have enough public chargers there. Will the administration look into installing medium or fast chargers at public car parks or residential developments so that the chargers will not be concentrated in business areas? Thank you. Secretary. I will ask Ms. Tam to take the question. Thank you. I can supply Ms. Kwok with the figures after the meeting. After rolling out the 300 million scheme last year in Southwest New Territories, Chun Wan, Kwai Ting, we have granted quite a number of applications for the installations of chargers. Based on the data we collected, I believe that Ms. Kwok will have her concern alleviated. Thank you. Dr. Junius Ho, thank you. Currently, the payment options for chargers vary. Some allow Octopus cards, credit cards, WeChat. Some are rather stubborn. They require a fresh registration and payment via a specific mobile application. It's so annoying. I have to install an individual apps for every car parks, and after scanning the QR code, I have to make a registration. I have to register my address and open an account, and it takes sometimes 5 to 10 minutes. Have you looked into standardizing the payment options for all chargers? I hope that all chargers will allow Octopus cards, credit cards, WeChat Pay as payment options. Or you can also allow maybe Fast Pay. I think chargers need to allow 5 to 6 payment options. I think it's not reasonable for people to mandate the installation of mobile applications for payment before we can use the chargers. Secretary, thank you. Thank you for raising this issue. I didn't notice the problem you mentioned. I will look into it after the meeting. I think that we have to be administration-led. We can learn from the system in the Legislative Council complex. Thank you. Next, Mr. Chang Hak-ken. Thank you, Madam Chair. I support the updated version of the roadmap. We see rapid development of EVs, and that's because of the one-for-one replacement scheme that offer tax incentives for people. I understand that given the tight budget of our government, we need to be more prudent. If you are going to scrap the scheme altogether in the upcoming budget, that will result in a significant fall in the number of EV registrations. You said that you hope to see 500,000 EVs by 2035. Now we only have 140,000 EVs on the road. Without the one-for-one scheme, what kind of impact would it cause to your goal? That's my first question. Second, according to paragraph 4 of the paper, it is said that we have 130,000 chargers. Our goal was 150,000, however. Why did we not meet our goal? Did we come across any challenges when we install chargers? Is it because of the low voltage? How can we overcome this problem? Lastly, apart from EVs, we also have other new energy vehicles. How can we encourage the popularization of, say, methanol vehicles, hydrogen vehicles, so that they can play their respective roles? Thank you.
局長。
Secretary, thank you. Regarding new energy vehicles and chargers, I'd like to ask Ms. Tam to give you more information regarding the one-for-one replacement scheme. It is within the purview of the Financial Secretary, and I believe he will make announcements in the budget speech. Let us take a look at the current situation. Comparing e-private cars and diesel vehicles, the prices for both types have started to narrow. The fuel costs are much lower comparing with diesel vehicles. EVs are much less expensive, probably about $300 to $400 per month, comparing with diesel vehicles which cost about $4,000 to $5,000 per month. And I believe what matters is how we can enhance the convenience for EVs charging. And I'd like to give the floor to Ms. Tam to give you more information. Regarding new energy vehicles like EVs, we maintain a neutral attitude. As long as we can achieve zero vehicle emissions to support carbon neutrality in Hong Kong before 2050, then we support the plan. The technology and application of EVs, not just in Hong Kong, but also in other countries, are quite mature, comparing with hydrogen-fueled vehicles and methanol vehicles. We'll continue to keep a close eye on the situation, especially technological advancements. Is it possible that they will become more cost-effective even than EVs? We'll continue to monitor the situation. That is our position on new energy vehicles. Regarding private chargers as well as the public charging network, members' observation is correct. Regarding the EV charging at home subsidy scheme, which was rolled out in 2020, at the start, it was a new scheme. That's why upon the rollout of this scheme, property owners had their own views or factors to consider. At the early stage, we did identify room for improvement. That's why in the past few years, the EPD has been doing a lot of work. We have set up a task force, and we are following up on all approved applications. After providing guidance to owners' corporations, we indeed have seen improvements in the figures in the past few years. This year and next year, we should see the fruits of success. And we are confident to meet the target of 140,000 by the end of the scheme, that is 2027 and 2028. Mr. Mark Chong. Thank you. Well, the convener of Roundtable, Mr. Markutin, has also switched to use switch to using EVs. In the updated Hong Kong roadmap on popularization of EVs, it is said that a public charging network with fast chargers as a backbone would be set up. Regarding number 10, we can see the different scales, 19.2% and 16.1% in 2020 and 2025 respectively, whereas the proportion of middle chargers has been increasing in a stable manner at respectively for 43.4% and 65%. I can see a difference here. So how are you going to increase the ratio of fast chargers? Have you encountered any difficulties? In paragraph 5.13, the target is to provide 200,000 parking spaces. There will be a total of 20,000 fast chargers, with 4,000 being fast chargers. The administration also mentioned 4,000 chargers. Is it actually a target in 2027 or 2030? If it is a goal for 2027, will you increase the number of fast chargers in 2030? Just now a member talked about the 1-for-1 replacement scheme. I hope that it will be continued, in fact. Many members of the public want to switch to EVs, just like me. So they want to know whether they will wait for the 1-for-1 replacement scheme so that they will buy a new car, or they should get a second-hand car right now. Well, I believe you will have the answer on a Wednesday. Indeed, we're waiting for the budget speech to be delivered by the Financial Secretary. Just now you talked about the ratio of middle chargers and fast chargers. In Hong Kong, why did we install medium chargers? That is because it will provide more convenience for your own parking space. It is the easiest as well. That's why for the EV charging at home subsidy scheme, we want to encourage chargers to be installed in private parking spaces. We also want to provide concessions when it comes to gross floor area. That is because you do not need a fast charger for your own parking space. One fast charger can support 50 or so vehicles. That's why 4,000 fast chargers will be able to support 200,000 or so vehicles. So I don't see it necessary to match the ratio. Well, regarding your goal to set up a public charging network with fast chargers as a backbone, do you have any indicator regarding the number? Well, in the future, primarily you will be using fast chargers. That's why we have our goal to have a total of 10,000 fast chargers in Hong Kong by 2035. Then this will support 500,000 EVs in Hong Kong. So, Mr. Mark Chong, well, we need to take actions. Don't wait. Thank you, Professor Lau Chi-Pang. Thank you. I welcome the updated Hong Kong roadmap on popularization of EVs. Well, we are driving EVs. Medium chargers aren't fast enough. That's why we need fast chargers. Technologies are developing by leaps and bounds. Probably in 2028, some technologies will have become outdated. Let's not talk about new energy vehicles. Let's talk about EVs. Let's talk about charging for EVs. I have two questions. I'd like to know whether the administration will support this direction that I'm going to propose. It's just like using mobile phones. Mobile phones will be out of battery, then you need a portable charger to charge your mobile phones. Is it possible to have mobile chargers for EVs, just like portable chargers for our mobile phones? At present, you will have to look for a fast charger when your vehicles run out of battery. Then you need a vehicle to supply electricity to you. What about battery swapping? Is it possible to just use a new energy instead of charging a commercial vehicle? Is it possible to consider this possibility in the updated roadmap? Secretary, well, we keep our mind open when it comes to technologies. We definitely won't ban any specific technologies. We leave it to the market. We'll see what technologies have a high demand in the market. Just like what you mentioned for portable chargers for mobile phones, they came into existence because of a need in the market. We will try to facilitate the introduction of different technologies into the market. But of course, there are differences in the views of different experts. When the charging speed gets faster, or when there are mobile chargers for EVs, probably the mainstream views will change. And I'm sharing with you the mainstream views in the industry. When it comes to technologies, we keep our mind open. As long as some technologies are available in the market, then we'll definitely help these technologies to enter the market. Mr. Lam Wai Kong, thank you. I'd like to ask about ECVs, that is, electric commercial vehicles. One important element is to support the training for technicians. At present, there are a total of 1,600 technicians. As of the end of last year, about 1,100 technicians had completed these training courses. Is it possible to provide more support for technicians in the industry? Regarding dedicated chargers for e-taxis, by the end of 2027, there will be 50. At present, there are 12, and 21 are being approved. This will only total 33. It's not 50 yet. So how are you going to plug the gap? As mentioned in the paper, there are 3,000 e-taxis in Hong Kong. 50 definitely not sufficient. How are you going to increase the number of such chargers? Regarding chargers for electric motorcycle and electric van type light goods vehicles, it seems that they have the condition to promote the further electrification of EVs. Are there any subsidy schemes? Are there any concrete measures? How are you going to promote light goods vehicle and motorcycles to go electric? Thank you. Secretary, thank you. I will ask my colleague to take your questions. But first of all, I'd like to talk about charging for e-taxis. We aren't relying on these chargers to charge taxis. We have $300 million fast charger incentive scheme. This charging network can help e-taxis to get charged. We want to provide more convenience for e-taxis, so we aren't relying on the 50 chargers just for taxis. Well, 50 chargers can already support thousands of taxis. That's why we have a sufficient supply of chargers. But of course, there are different factors at play for taxis. Thank you.
Mr. Lan, now on motorcycles, vans, in the updated version of the roadmap, we already mentioned that we are going to mandate the use of EVs in government fleet. We will also procure suitable electric vans for the use within the government when there are suitable models. For public works project, we may purchase electric vans for use when there are suitable models on the market. You also asked about the maintenance workers for EVs. Now we have 1,100 technicians for EVs. With the higher penetration rates of EVs, I believe that there will be more and more maintenance workers registering to become a maintenance workers for EVs. We will monitor the trend, and we will work with the training institutions to see if they will open more courses for technicians. I will extend the meeting by a bit to allow for some more questions. Mr. Chen Pokchi, thank you. According to paragraph 9 of the paper, it is said that Hong Kong is a bridgehead for global expansion to help China's industry and technology to go global. So what measures do we have to support the development of EVs? Do we have any promotion centers? Do we have any standard articulation platform? Secretary, you talked about charging standards. As we all know, our country uses GB. For the rest of the world, they use IEC. Hong Kong is a right-hand drive market. That's why we are adopting IEC. When mainland car manufacturers want to enter an overseas right-hand drive market, they will trial the sale of IEC EVs in Hong Kong. When it becomes popular in Hong Kong, they will promote it to the rest of the world. In Hong Kong, we can look into how we can create a standardized charging standard. We are working with the National Energy Administration in developing this Chaoji technology. This is a technology developed by our country, and they have talked to many international standards institutions. Hopefully, we can standardize the charging standards and internationalize it. We are trialing it in Hong Kong. If it's successful, then we can use our city as the window to promote this standard of Chaoji to other places. Thank you. Now it's my turn. I support the popularization of EVs. I have one suggestion. No need for a reply. I'd just like to talk about electric light goods vehicle or electric public light buses. Hybrid buses is energy efficient as well. So I think that we should allow public light bus to go hybrid instead of asking them to go fully electric. I have some questions on the conversion of petrol filling station to charging station. Many petrol filling stations are left idle. Their business is not great. How do we convert them into charging stations? Can they only convert to one after the lease is expired? I believe that, well, if the owners of the petrol filling stations want to convert to a charging station, do we have any incentives or support for them? I appreciate the Chaoji technology. I think that's a great thing. We have this EV charging at home subsidy scheme. Some contractors may ask the estates that have not installed chargers to, say, upgrade their system to include Chaoji technology and charge the owners more. Will this happen? Secretary, thank you. With the Chaoji standard, we can use an adapter. So for parking lots that have installed chargers, they don't have to replace them. Even if all the EVs on the road have switched to Chaoji, the chargers will have to be replaced or changed. The vehicles can be charged by using an adapter. So the benefit is that none of the EVs or the chargers will need to be replaced just because we are popularizing the use of Chaoji standards. Regarding the petrol filling station, we adopt an administrative-led approach. There are two ways to convert them into charging stations. For government lands that are up for tender, the tenders can choose to build a petrol filling station or a charging station. Another way is for a existing petrol filling station to convert to a charging station. But depending on the type of chargers to be installed and the number of chargers they have, we may extend their land lease to encourage them to install more. So this is how we encourage existing petrol filling stations to install chargers, even though their lease may still be valid. Many companies have shown interest. I think that it all depends on market interest. Regarding hybrid vehicles, that's more complicated. As the lifespan of a vehicle is long, we therefore allow the use of hybrid, but we encourage the public light bus operators to change to electric ones. Thank you. There being no other questions, move on to AOB. There being no AOB, meeting adjourned. Thank you.